week on Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, Microsoft has released a new version of Skype Alpha, and it still sounds like nope. And have you always wanted a rolling kernel in your LTS? What's that? No? Well, Ubuntu's going to do it anyway.
Debian considers merging some library folders, and I wonder what took him so long. And some AMD Zen numbers leak, and we discuss what they may mean.
Darktable is preparing for a new major release, and so far it looks pretty good. Blogger and podcaster Matt Hartley has a few complaints about Linux, and I have just about as many.
All right, so let's just jump into it, starting with this Darktable. What is it? I've never heard about it.
So, Darktables is a photo retouching program. I mean, it's more focused on raw photography than GIMP is. It allows you to modify things like color, brightness, things like that. I mean, we could say it's the most powerful photo tool on Linux right now. There are a couple other alternatives, but right now I think it's the most advanced tool for photographs and such. So they're preparing a new big release. They have made like more than 2,000 commits since the last release, which was last year, which was 2.0. So they are in release candidates right now, and they will probably release the 2.2.0 in the next couple of weeks, I guess.
I was taking a look at it, man. I was playing around with it, and that's a complete lie, because I unpacked it and I was like, let's build this critter. And if you guessed the fourth install dependency before I just flipped table, I was like, I want to play with it, but not that bad. Foxy I was like, it's really great for like raw photos and stuff like that. And I was like, I have a D80 somewhere, but no, I think I'm just going to wait for this. Pedro, have you ever played around with it?
No. I actually did, contrary to every single one of our beliefs, I did a little bit of research when it came to dedicated photo editors on Linux. And yeah, Darktables is not just a big one, it's probably one of the last ones outside of GIMP, because you can still do it with GIMP and Creda if you're a masochist. It's probably the big one that's still being actively maintained, and like Strider already said, they have well over 2,000 commits since version 2.0, so that's pretty good. Keep it up.
So what's with that picture you put in the show notes? Go ahead.
Yeah, there are a couple. The other big ones out there there is raw therapy as well, and UF raw. So I don't think they're as advanced as Darktable, but these do exist as well. And I just checked, and raw therapy is also quite actively maintained. But yeah, you were mentioning that you didn't get to compile it. You know what's useful is reading the wiki page about building the project, and you just have 2 lines to paste into your terminal and just run the build script, and it will do everything.
That's cute. You see, I do stuff like a man, Strider. I don't read instructions, okay? With you when you're put together IKEA furniture, just...
I know, I mean, documentation is boring, right?
It is boring.
So, I mean, I had to replace like libtiff4 with libtiff5 in the dependencies, and that was it. And it was quite fast to compile as well. Other than that, I had never used it. Pretty much the first time, I was experiencing with the program.
This thing supports Gentoo,
and it's quite easy to handle. So there's one thing that is interesting. I was checking on Foronix, and they had released these benchmarks of OpenCL. Like they were getting some NVIDIA GPUs with some AMD GPUs and benchmarking how fast it was with OpenCL. And interestingly enough, the AMD GPUs were doing quite well with AMD GPU Pro. So
of course they do. AMD has always kicked NVIDIA's asses when it comes to OpenCL. That's because NVIDIA has CUDA. So moving on, we have a little bit of a weird one or a neat one, as the case may be. This is a $89 laptop, which has an ARM SoC. They say it's an all-winner A64 quad-core ARM Cortex-A53 with 1.2 gigahertz. 1.2 gigahertz quad-core, that may be usable. 2 gigabytes of LPDDR3, an internal storage of 16 gigabytes eMMC. Oh, wow, that's slow. They give you two options, or they will give you two options because it isn't out yet. It comes in 11.6 or 14-inch IPS LCDs. The IPS for $90, that's probably cheaper than you can get on any desktop monitors currently. That's pretty good. So yeah, it will run. You'll be given a choice as to what manner of Linux flavor you get to load on it. But yeah, in the show notes, the story is labeled Chromebook, but it's not an actual Chromebook, because if it was, that would be definitely something to consider.
Well, the reason I said Chromebook is because everyone's like, oh, this is great. And I was like, remember the AAA tablets? This is just a really big one of those and about as useful. With those specifications, genuinely, the only thing I could think to do with it would be to, make a hacking Chromebook or however that works. I don't know what else you'd really have. I mean, yeah, there's a couple of ARM distros out there, but let's just be honest with each other. You basically, no matter what you install, you're going to end up with a Chromebook, because about all you can do is surf the web on that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If it was an actual Chromebook, at least it would have access to the entire Play Store or whatever Google themes available for the desktop, quote-unquote, version of Chrome OS. So you would get that, but it isn't an actual Chromebook. And since Google has been pretty quiet about if the whole Play Store thing will ever make it to regular desktop Linux, I don't see it happening. As it stands, you're still relying on that ARM SoC for user grade software, which, to say the least, is not ideal.
Yeah, I have a different take on this one. I mean, it seems pretty capable, and I am looking for a laptop replacement, and I don't want to buy like a good one just right now. So I think I will probably get one of those. So I'm currently hesitating between like 11-inch and 14-inch. In
the 14-inch, it's worth mentioning that it'll be like $10 more expensive.
Yeah, I mean, there's basically no difference in price. And it's also really cheap. I mean, $80 or $90. It's really, really cheap for a laptop. You can run Ubuntu, and basically the only thing you can't run is Steam. This is the only thing that requires, Steam and Wine. Those are the only two things I can...
You can run Chromium, but you can't run Chrome.
Maybe, but I mean, if you can run Firefox, then same thing. Yeah, I mean, it's a perfectly capable laptop. I mean, you can run things like Vim or basically any software you want, except those like Steam, Wine, and gaming stuff that is meant to be played on x86.
You can use the new Microsoft thing that emulates x86.
Oh, yeah, see when that comes out. I don't know.
You don't want to do that on such a cheap laptop. But
when you're dealing with ARM, you're definitely going to be dealing with a Moon architecture. I know this. I'm the psychopath that used Sunboxes for his desktop on Linux for about 2 years, and you get really tired of building everything from source.
Yep. I mean, in Ubuntu, you got the ARM repos, and you got pretty much everything. So... No, I mean, it's not a requirement.
Okay.
Pretty much have everything.
Okay, Strider, you're the only one of us that actually uses Kdenlive. What is this all about?
That's it. KD, come on, Strider.
Okay,
you can...
Kdenlive. So they have released a new version a couple of months ago. And they are preparing for the next version. So it was 16.8 that was released in August, and they were preparing for 16.12. And while they are preparing for this, they are organizing bug squashing day to help like ironing out the bugs left in the program. So, and I already don't have any complaints about Kdenlive just as it is. I'm pretty sure there are some bugs left, but the last version I tried was pretty much almost perfect. I have used it, I mean, not extensively, but it never had crashed once. And I'm just happy they're working on improving it even more because I mean, we've waited for years, but there I can say it, we have a good nonlinear video editor on Linux to this day, and that's really good.
And I guess we should tell the beautiful people that this will be taking place Friday, 2nd of December between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Central European Time. You can get this at kdenlive.org. All this business will be in our show notes. I don't know, bug squashing day, weasel stomping day sounds better. How about Windows stomping day? I don't know.
That's every day around here. It's not like we have Linux in the name of the show. Oh, wait.
Right. Hey, man, let's put everything in opt.
Or let's not. Let's just drop the pretense that we need separate lib32 and usrlib and usrlib32 folders, because that is very much 1995 reasoning. This is the move, according to the register. Debian is preparing to revise the file system to bring it in line with other major distributions, and the two examples they cite are Fedora and CentOS, which, you guessed it, already have lib and lib32 combined with usrlib and usrlib32 and the bin folders as well, which, again, doesn't really make that much sense because you don't have two versions of the same binary in the binary folder. Chances are you have a specific set on the root one and another one in the USR one. So even if you join them together, they're not going to override one another. And that's good. It saves a lot of aches, especially nowadays when you're running 64-bit operating systems and you want to run 32-bit stuff, like, again, Steam. Steam is very much 32-bit, so you need that multi-lib access. And as someone who has been using Ubuntu Mate for the better part of the last 3 months, I can tell you for a fact it's not as straightforward when you're trying to build a 32-bit package on Ubuntu 64-bit as it is on, say, Fedora. Because Fedora just does it. On Ubuntu, you need to, well, if you want to do it the right way, you should always set up a chroot, but that's not the point. Point is, Debian is finally combining bin, sbin, and the lib folders with their corresponding USR folders. Good on them.
No, man, you see, this is too late, man. It's over. Kambutu told me last week that snap packages are the future, and that's how everything's going to work, Strider.
Yeah, no, this is a good thing. I mean, it wasn't such a problem, but there was no reason to have this architecture of of folders. I don't think. I mean, originally this separation was made because you could have like the root folder mounted on one drive, and USR folder mounted on another drive, which was accessible after the system was booted. But today, in 2016, I can't think of any reason why anyone would want to do that. Yeah, but then again, I mean, I don't like partitions at all. I mean, I just usually create one partition for everything.
And of course you do. You were born in the Windows.
You know, I remember a couple of weeks ago when we had a discussion about this, and I think I remember Strider defending Ubuntu's decision to have 6 different library folders. I'm not even exaggerating. They have 6 different library folders.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I don't defend this decision, but it doesn't bother me either. So, I mean, as long as I have a working system.
It's the most French thing you've ever done on this show. Okay. Wow. All right. Mir is not about Unity 8. What?
Yeah, we have this article published on Ubuntu Insights, which explains that what Mir is all about, and it's not all about Unity 8, even if it makes up a lot of it. Because
of course it's not all about Unity 8. They have so much stupid on top of that. Man, they can go for months before they even get to Unity 8. Starting with Mir.
So currently Mir is used in production systems in their Ubuntu phone and tablets. But
which they have since moved away from. Continue.
No, they have not moved away from it.
Oh, they are.
Anyway, they're explaining that they have these libraries which you can build on top of Mir, and you can set up kiosks with basic window management stuff and all that kind of things, like basic embedded systems. You could build upon, and then they go on explaining how Mir works. If you use GTK or Qt or SDL programs, it will just work, which we already kind of knew. And it also explains the advantages and shortcomings of Mir. So it says that it is more secure than X, and by being more secure, it also says that it prevents a bunch of things that used to work from working today. So, for example, those programs that could monitor your X sessions, such as XIs or Xbind keys.
That sentence just doesn't seem right.
I mean, it does solve some problem, but also, this blog post does not answer everything. It raises more questions than it answers, actually. What the biggest question I have about Mir is mainly about Xmir. I want to be able with Xmir to run X applications with dynamic scaling. Like, for example, you have an X application that would open a 800 by 600 window, full screen window. I would like to be able to run this in full screen mode without changing the desktop resolution. And also, it would be nice to have option to keep the aspect ratio on this.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's very difficult to hear everything that you just said because I'm on top of Mount Wayland.
Yeah, that's the thing. What Strider was saying about like dynamic scaling and having instead of just setting your monitor's resolution to whatever the application calls for, it would just scale the window up to your resolution. Some desktop environments already do this. Unity is not one of them. But there was one line that he was saying that when he started talking about Wayland, he said, well, some people see Wayland and Mir as competing. There are a lot of areas where they have common interests. Yeah, that's what competition means. You have two different people or companies even targeting the exact same issue, and each are offering their own solution to the same sort of problems. Seeing as Mir doesn't really have any support outside of Ubuntu and Unity, Wayland's already winning. It's already the better alternative.
I don't know, man. There's a holy war. I'm sure there's like 6, possibly 7 people that would violently disagree with you.
Yeah, for me, they're pretty much the same projects. They have this same underlying technology that they run on top of EGL. So when one gets driver support for, say, NVIDIA or AMD, the other one will get it too. They solve the same problems. They have the same limitations. What I said about the X bind keys, for example, not working on Mir, it would not work on Wayland either.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then again, you wouldn't get like Xset or any of the other X software that you usually rely on, like Xgamma or what have yous. So yeah, with the new display servers, those are all going away.
Wait, will they have to rename X bill to W bill? I'm asking the real questions, man. Anyway, moving on. What's new in Skype 113 for Linux Alpha? Well, Brad, not much. They've enabled SMS. Yes, that's the feature we've been dying for, Microsoft.
Yeah.
Man, I was just last week sitting over here going, oh, if I could only SMS in Skype, then Strider's like, dude, check out the price on SMSing. How much is that?
Yeah, I was wondering about this SMS thing, and I tried it. I installed the new updates. And so what I did is I set my phone number to your Skype account. So I could send myself an SMS. And I tried, so I added the number, worked fine. And then I was about to type the SMS and said, oh, you have to add Skype credit to send SMS. And it didn't tell me how much it cost per SMS. And I had to dig that under like some obscure Skype page, web page. I mean, and I found out ultimately that it costs 11 cents by SMS, which seems quite a lot. I don't know what's the regular price for an SMS, but it seems
I was about to say I could not think of a single service that isn't free to send SMS, even on mobile plans, even the chunky ones. Then, Google Voice and all that fun stuff.
Well, you do pay for something. You don't get free SMS, like just free out of.
Yeah, you pay for the plan, but you get unlimited texts. Like I have in Space Portugal.
Yeah, you get unlimited, but you pay for your subscription.
Yeah, you pay for the plan.
But let's see, what else do we have? Improved crash reporting, and let's see, didn't they do something with the Electron stuff? Yeah, update to Electron 1.47. Now, I know the real question you're thinking. Well, then, we all know that this alpha version sounds like rewarmed Nope. Does this one sound any better? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It still sounds like janked nightmare fuel compared to the 4-year-old client, which fortunately was not developed by Microsoft. The only updates Microsoft did to that was to remove widescreen video. Good job, guys. Good job, guys. But, Pedro, check this out, man. I think we just need to, hey, everyone who helps support and make the show, we should say nice things about them. I like saying nice things about those people. They're cool people.
Nice things, or at least thank them very much from the bottom of our cold, deep, dark recesses of our chest where our heart should be. Seriously, thank you very much. All 90 of you. You are awesome. And even everyone who watches us live who can't really afford to kick us a few shekels, we still appreciate you guys. If you, say, ever win the lottery and you'd like to contribute, but you're not entirely sure that money's going to last you all that long, you can also do a one-time donation. If you go to linuxgamecast.com/support-the-chosen, there'll be PayPal buttons, or if you're doing some shopping on Amazon, you can use our Amazon affiliate links. But we really, really appreciate every single person who commits to sending us wet stinkies over to Patreons. And this week, Mr. Will Q actually sent us some shekels.
It was awesome. That's a good way to, it was like, I want you to say my name. Well, Mr. Will Q, you have accomplished this. And, I'm very tempted to just, put Strider on the spot and say, give me 5 facts about Will. And we would be here for another 30 minutes. So, moving on.
Indeed, Zen.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit of a Zen moment for AMD because they're currently riding the stocks rising in price, and everyone's really hyped up about their new processor line, which is called Zen. And there have been some more document leaks, according to Fudzilla here. They got the leaks from Guru 3D. And you see, there's a Chinese. There's a Chinese, it's a Chinese order list, with comparisons between the AMD Summit Ridge, as they call them, the Zen Special R7, the regular R7, the R5, and the R3. Now, Summit Ridge, are those the APUs? I'm not sure anymore. Is naming schemes. But yeah, they have some pricing there, and you can see like the pricing, it's in yen?
Yen. That's yen,
Yeah.
so it's Japanese, buddy.
Yeah, it's Japanese. Okay, so it is Japanese after all.
This is the linchpin of this entire story is Pedro figuring out whether.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, so the special edition comes in at just under $500, and the SR7, the regular one, comes in at around $350. Now, there's also some Cinebench R15 scores, which you see the special edition turns to be $1,300, or above $1,300. They didn't specify. And you also get the comparisons between the Intel Broadwell E's and the Haswell E's. Now, it is actually turning out better than the Haswell E's. So, good on AMD
what I'm
for
definitely
that.
looking at is, performs like a Core i7 at half the price. They're talking their $500 part is going to perform similarly to the $1,000 5960X from the big blue, but we're talking like walking in the door with these things at 150 wet, stinky caches. It was like sold. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's no, okay. Fair is fair. And if you do some simple maths, you can, if the 6950X only had 8 cores and was clocked at the exact same speed as the Zen parts, yes, the performance would be about the same according to the Cinebench results. I guess that could be called competitive, yes, if we had the hardware to back it up. Unfortunately, we don't, and this article, I mean, it comes from Fudzilla. It's all speculation from pre-release, and it's all been hyped up and cherry-picked, and just to appease the investors. And AMD, being AMD, is just riding the hype train and not saying anything to, I don't know, maybe prevent the inevitable disappointment that will come when the parts do come out and people get the chance to.
I mean, we could see what happened like 99, 2000, whenever their first, what was it, the Thunderbird, the Slot A chip came out of nowhere and just stomped Intel. I mean, Intel was like, what? That's what I want to see happen again.
I want that.
I want that.
Really
I
want
need that. That would make me happy. Plus, where Intel's already back to selling $1,000 CPUs again. Okay, that's they were
1,700.
Okay, I'm sorry, I stand corrected, but I mean that's kind of where they were, in '99, and the AMD just dropped them, because we had the K5, K6, and those were good times. I want those times back. Now, talking about the hype trade, AMD's biggest problem is not AMD's hype trade. It's the user base hype train. I mean, that's a common meme, even in our AMD. They're like, choo-choo, for basically everything that goes on with that. But Strider, as someone who hates AMD and freedom, why do you love Intel so much?
I mean, I've looked at these Zen CPUs, and I guess they're pretty good if you value the number of cores versus the number of gigahertz. And myself, I mean, I'm just happy with having 4.4 gigahertz and just 4 cores, or 8 threads. On pure single core performance, it's hard to beat that. But I mean, it will be pretty good for things like Vulkan or other usage that will require multi-core processing.
Yeah, Vulkan is a really good example, actually, because
DX12 is the future, bro.
The X12 is the exact same thing. They're both based on Mantle. But it's parallel processing, and that's what AMD has always been good at. That's what the Bulldozer and the Pile Drivers and the rest of those cores were built for. They're built for parallel processing. But as it turns out, the gaming industry in general decided to adopt IPC, instructions per core. And that's where Intel excels, because that's all about single-threaded performance.
Performance per core is definitely a thing, and most game developers seem to only be able to count to 2. and when it comes to threading something. But we'll see what the megahertz. I mean, that was another thing, when we had like the XPs from AMD, because megahertz are not all made. Well, gigahertz are not all made equal, so it depends on how much work per cycle these chips are doing. So let's talk missing Linux components and possible fixes. Missing Linux components affect users on a daily basis. Here's some solutions. Strider, what's this about? Abandonware? You seem to have things like, oh, that's a good idea, right?
Okay, so this is from Matt Hartley. So
Matt Hartley, who's that?
You might know him from the Linux Action Show, or also he runs, he writes on a couple of blogs. He's like, he hosts some podcasts and
Freedom Penguin. See, Matthew doesn't like you, Matt, because your name's Matt, and he thinks he's a superior Matt.
No, I mean, Matt Hartley is a cool dude. But yeah, he was having, like, I wouldn't say rants, but some complaints about some of the shortcomings of the Linux world, especially the Linux desktop. And yeah, I mean, he raises a couple of issues on different things, and they are pretty valid. But I would like to go deeper and...
Okay, well, let's start with this one. There's a lack of a GUI firewall, and it creates a missing Linux component. Now, I'm going to walk right out with that. And sorry, Matt, I love you. Whoa, Vin just said that. Whoa, get some popcorn. I got a GUI firewall. It's called a router. Because I'm not worried about firewalls on per device stuff, because it's 2016 and, routers are cheap. But here's one of my things. I'm always confused about, wrap with me on this. What do people keep comparing? Is like, well, Windows has this, Linux should have this. Why are we comparing Linux to Windows? Windows works like Windows. Mac OS works like, all right, whatever it does.
Yes,
and Linux runs like Linux, man. They're different systems. I don't go, hey, that AIX needs this feature, or, IRIX needs this feature, more like Linux. That's just silly talk. It's crazy talk, man.
I didn't compare it to Windows that much. I didn't find it that it did that. It was just stating that, okay, those things are missing from Linux. And sometimes it did mention Windows a couple times, but it was mainly just Linux missing stuff or missing stuff up. So we'll go into detail about some of this.
We're going to get into the detail. We're not going line by line. So tell me about this firewall.
No.
What's your issue with that?
Okay, so about the firewall, I'll go back to the previous articles, paragraphs after that. But the firewall, I think it misses the whole point about what's missing here. Sure, it would be nice to have a GUI for a firewall, but what's really missing is an application firewall, something that will restrict network access per application. And I've been doing some search around, and I found this project called Duan. It's available at duanapp.com, and it's heading to the right direction. But sadly, it's not widely available because it lacks some packagers and whatnot. I mean, it seems to be a really good project. It looks really nice. It looks to be doing the right thing. It has a kernel module, so it's really low level. And yeah, I mean, it seems to be a really good thing. And we'll see that this is a recurring point on all the shortcomings in Linux. So going back to the beginning, he says abandonware creates a missing component. And yes, this is true. Some projects, they're really good, but they lack maintainers. And this is one of the biggest failures in open source, I find, because open source gives you this freedom to keep a project living, even if the original creators have moved on and are not maintaining the project anymore. And yet, you don't see that often when a project when maintainers stop working on a project. Very few people will go on and just take the project where it stopped and continue.
No, that's definitely a big issue. How many times have you found that one application that you really wanted. And you're like, oh, that's perfect. And you get there and it hasn't been updated in 9 years.
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, I've done that a few times and I've taken the source code and just updated it. And it's not that hard. And you need to change a few dependencies, change a few lines of code. And I've done it for some video games. I've done it for some emulators. It's not that hard. And people, if they want to do it, I mean, they can. It's pretty much the same recurring points over and over. He was complaining about different software versions. If you run some not outdated Linux distros, you will be fine because it's easier to run old software on new Linux distros than the opposite. If you run maintained software, you will be fine. Again, it's a lack of maintainers in packages that is the problem here. He complains about users interface hiccups. Same thing. I mean, if you have some well-maintained themes or extension, for example, for GNOME or whatever, it won't be an issue. But sadly, it's not always the case. You have some theme that haven't been updated in a couple of years or so, and they tend to be problematic to use in current versions. Okay, he had this paragraph about Samba where he said, lack of seamless networking. No, it's not networking, it's just Samba. That as well is just a lack of people who care about this issue and distributions. If someone really care, then it would be fixed.
You're debating semantics, Strider. Don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that could be fixed really quickly if people care about those things in Linux distributions. So, yeah, I mean, the overall theme about these points you raise are very valid, but they boil down to one thing, and it's just not enough developers working on projects.
Yeah, and this, like, the general point of this is boiling down the old trite argument of fragmentation versus freedom of choice. Well, Matt argues some points regarding that it's saying that it's fragmentation. It doesn't go outright and say that it is, but that is what he's arguing, and Strider kind of is arguing the exact same thing, just from a different point of view, because Strider's a developer. And fact of the matter is, here, in Linux land, there are a lot of small teams working in different projects and that provide similar functionality. I mean, just look at the desktop environment thing. To take the UI flustercuck example, you have KDE and GNOME trying to basically do the exact same thing, and they just don't happen. In an ideal world, those people would come together and create the perfect DE, but this isn't the ideal world. And from my perspective, I would rather get shot again than have to use GNOME 3 for longer than 30 minutes.
Yeah, this is where I have to disagree, because I do support this fragmentation. I do support this diversity and options we have in the Linux world. But I just wish that there were more people who went from doing absolutely nothing to doing something. I mean, even the smallest contributions have some values. And some people, they will say, but I don't know how to do this and everything. And for whatever reason, for me, it's just an excuse to be lazy. Everybody can do something. And if you work on it long enough, you can contribute.
All right, that sounds good. And I think just to put a bow on this, to remind everyone, really, I mean, if you really do need a GUI for your firewall on Linux, just run Zone Alarm and whine like a normal person. Coming up next,
well, Canonical is doing something, and they're cozying up to Amazon after the whole Unity Lenses shopping thing. Whenever you search for something, it would give you shopping results.
Oh, everyone
the exact same thing.
That.
Yeah. So after that flopped harder than most Adam Sandler movies after Little Nicky, well, now they're cozying up to Amazon and providing Amazon Web Services to anyone who is willing to pay. Now, this is part of the Ubuntu Advantage program. You may remember we've already mentioned that one of the services that offers is the canonical live patch service, which is kernel patching without having to reboot. Yes. So this just offers more. You get 24/7 telephone and web support if you require the support. You get access to the canonical knowledge hub. Just use the Arch Wiki. I mean, for all the crap that we give Arch Linux, their wiki is pretty damn good.
It kind of has to be, man, in order to use it.
And you also get access to Landscape, the SaaS version for managing Ubuntu at scale, as they say, not the get together. But yeah, so they got together at the AWS reInvent 2016, and they basically announced all of this. They also talked about the containers. Obviously, they talked about Docker, and inevitably the conversation went on to mention snaps and the interoperability in between snaps. Oh, what's that? Containers are supposed to keep everything isolated in one thing so they don't talk to one another? But
I
snaps do.
I don't know. Strider loves AWS, man. I mean, he's like a fanboy.
It could be a good service, but it's exclusively reserved for companies who can afford that service. And it's just like a slap in the face of regular people who would like to use such a service. But no, I find it overpriced. And no, I mean, it's too bad that we don't get more affordable hosting that uses like modern technology like containers and all that stuff.
This is why you need to check your mail more often. They have like coupons like every 3 or 4 weeks for AWS.
They do. They actually do.
Okay, rolling LTS, man. We were talking about this right at the intro. So, yeah, right. You really need rolling kernels on an LTS because you hate yourself? Absolutely. And, well, that's what they're going to be bringing with the Ubuntu's. It's starting, I believe, 1604,
1604, right? Yes.
Oh, wow. I'm just having nightmares looking at this. Strider, wow, make this make sense. Make this something other than just nightmare fuel. Because I'm like, nope. Mm-mm.
So, yeah, they wrote this whole article without mentioning even once what HWE meant. So I had to Google it to figure out what the hell it meant. And apparently it means hardware enablement. So which means that on your LTS distributions, it will support more hardware than what it did when it was first released. And that's quite a good thing because, I mean, I had a laptop that didn't fully work until I installed a newer kernel with it, mainly for things like Wi-Fi or touchpads, things like that get enabled in future kernel updates. So this isn't the only options you have. You can also use the mainline kernel PPA, which is not a PPA, but whatever. But this will give you those updates automatically as they roll out. They had some similar stuff in the past, but what they are doing now is pushing those updates much more frequently. So I guess that's a good thing. I mean, it's always good to stay up to date regarding the kernel.
Yeah.
And this enables for LTS distribution to stay relevant on
Strider, don't question the relevance of LTS releases. Both me and Ven are running LTSs, and we know their relevance. Now, the thing is, and I will agree with you on this, which is rolling kernels, bringing rolling kernels to an LTS without needing the users to install an extra repo so they can get an updated kernel is, well, it's beneficial in a couple of ways. Hardware support, of course, that's what the hardware enablement thing is all about, and to a lesser extent, the better performance for people using the open source drivers, like, say, someone who is running an Intel Iris Pro or has one of those notebooks or even a desktop with an AMD GPU. Yeah, it's going to give you a better performance, a newer kernel compared with a new version of Mesa, although you still need a PPA for that, for the time being. You will need a newer kernel in order to get that better performance. So this is good.
I don't know. I mean, Strider, I would never let Strider, like, if I was in management and he was like, I want to be assisted, man, I'd just take him out back and put him down. I'm like, no. I mean, I get it. I like his mentality. It's the developer mentality. It's the tinker. I'm from the school of, I'm definitely from the school, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Strider's like, if it's still working, you haven't fixed it enough. And
no, I don't do that. I mean, I barely touch my my servers. I run some LTS on all my containers.
What are you running an LTS, man? Come on, man. Who runs LTS? That's a stupid Strider.
Yeah.
Well, on my
what's
servers,
the point of an LTS,
yes,
Strider?
I do run LTS. And I barely touch them. Pretty much everything is automated by deployment scripts. And if I don't want to go in and SSH into the server and fix a bunch of stuff, so I touch my servers the less I can. The less I touch.
All right, let's put a bow on the news and get into our slice of pie of the week. We've actually got a couple of stories.
Oh man, 80 cent pop. This is like a flock of seagulls. Of pies. Oh man, good joke, Vin, but you missed it.
Those are analog sticks.
Yeah, those are analog sticks, so you can get them from Adafruit, I think. They're not that expensive. So this guy he built a synthesizer. So it's a strange-looking synthesizer, but it's built with a Raspberry Pi. It's fully programmable, and it controls with your hand with those joysticks and a bunch of knobs, which you can control a bunch of stuff like frequency, amplitude, and like you can do some kinds of variations with the joysticks. And I've watched a video. I mean, if you want to play it and like with the sound.
Man, if this thing had like 30 more LEDs on it, Razer would make a game controller from it and call it like the Fister or something, right? Instead of the Mitt.
No, I'm looking at this and I was thinking, just how responsible would Ven be with one of these things modulating us live as we're recording the show?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe Vin would have to grow a fourth arm, and it's just nightmare fuel. But that is really a cool project. You can check that out again. Everything is in the show.
And I'd like to see what some musicians like Biosphere or Sun could do with that kind of stuff. Cool. It produced some really cool sounds. So, yeah, really cool projects.
Okay, what is this, Audrey boy?
So the next one is an handheld console that is the size of a credit card, and it's built. So the segment is called slice of pie, but we don't always talk about Raspberry Pi. And this time is
about the chip.
So they've already lost me. It's a 1.3. I'm guessing that's an inch. Brilliant black and white. See, I only work with like dingy black and white OLED displays.
So yeah, it's really tiny. The display is less than 1.5 inch. You can run those. So you have to use the Arduino development kit to make games. So you have to use a variant of C to make those games, and it seems to be quite interesting. I mean, there's a bunch of games that are already out there, and there are some breakout clones, some platformers.
Oh man, I love their Caesar GIF.
Oh yeah.
So what's this thing going to cost me, Strider, if I have to buy it?
It's a $49, I think.
$49, and think about it, man. If you pick up one of these for $49, like the ultimate hipsters right now are playing like with their Picos, right?
Yeah.
You can just blow them out of the water when you pull this bad boy out, right, Pedro?
But comparatively speaking, the Pico is a monster when compared to this thing.
Think about it.
Yeah, this is really
Because
the smallest thing ever.
for the exact same price, $49, you can get the Pocket Chip, which comes with the Pico installed and the chip SoC and the whole thingamajiggy that you can use to control it. Why? This one I don't get.
I admit, I don't get it, but when I saw the video, I was like, I kind of want one.
No, it's interesting because you usually see stuff that is built with Arduino. They don't have a display, they don't have controls. It's just like a microcontroller on top of a device. But this, it has a screen, it has a joypad, and it has games. It's something you don't usually see with an Arduino, which is almost not I don't think it qualifies as a CPU. I think it's a microcontroller.
All right.
It is.
Well, hopefully we've helped them sell a few. Raspberry Pi enthusiasts rejoice. Pi User Magazine. Wait, did you just launch a magazine in 2016, Brad? Yes, you did.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
Wait, is that an actual print magazine, or are we talking like online and you read it as an ebook?
Pi User Online, my favorite magazine, Tech and Gadgets. I don't know. I'm hoping this is not an actual print magazine, but I wanted to be like, hey, everyone, go check this out if you're really into Raspberry Pis. Here's there's a cover, so that they might have released a print magazine in 2016, which would be a horrible idea.
That's shooting yourself in the foot or washing money down the drain. Really, whatever you want to call it.
I don't know. I'm going to take the challenge.
Print magazine are still out there.
Nope. That's a big nope. Okay, you can sort of see the 18 pages online. Okay, all right.
Let's see. They got a little sampler. Maybe that'll work. Future publishing.
Yeah, that's the sampler. You can see that online. If they publish it online, that's cool. But if they no, don't make this a print magazine.
No,
I mean, why not? Why not?
Because no one buys them. It's money down the drain.
The movie Hackers, man, I hate hard copy. That's legit. I don't have paper in the house. You want something that's cute and hilarious as Old Man Vin trying to find something to write on in this house. It doesn't exist. And then it's like a double whammy when I do find something. And it's like, no, right, you need the thing to write with. Damn. But
I used to write games reviews for a print magazine. It died in 2008. Don't.
Some people like magazines. I mean, I could understand. All right. I'm lying to you. I don't understand if they do a print magazine. Strider, do you have anything else for this before we go?
I don't.
Why do these people hate trees?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not very nice on trees, but they usually printed on recycled paper. But still, I mean, I don't buy them anymore. Usually, if I do buy one, it will be if I take an airplane or the train. That's pretty much the only case where I will buy a magazine.
If you don't have a tablet.
Other than that.
Well, okay, it's a thing. It looks well done. We're just saying, please don't do a print magazine. And best of luck with your project, even if you do, man. I hope you prove us wrong. That'll be awesome.
Indeed.
Hey, man, we're getting to the end of the show, so I think it's the time we let the people scream back in our direction after we've been talking to them for, Jesus Christ, 54 minutes.
Okay, so make this quick. LinuxGamecast.com, contact button, fill out the form. It's easy enough. We'll get it, and chances are, if it's relevant, it'll be right here. You can also leave YouTube comments, which is where this one came from. Mr. Marius from Softpedia. He writes for Softpedia anyway. And he says, why promote Frostbites? They plagiarize a non-native English speaker that can actually spell plagiarize. Someone out there is going to get that. They plagiarize everyone. That article about Facebook's fake news is a clone of a Business Insider story. Well, we don't promote really anything. That was the link that was available at the time. That's the one we saw. That's the one that ended up.
No, Pedro. I have an arbitrary list of sites that I've deemed that your show should not ever display, and you need to adhere to it.
And if we're going on that particular train ride, it's kind of ironic that someone who writes for Softpedia is calling other outlets out on their sources.
But Softpedia is known for their integrity in journalism, not for people who do it to make a quick buck. Wait, that's
it wasn't all that long ago that you had a certain writer that liked to literally make up stuff on the fly, and he got called out on it repeatedly.
I don't know, but on a lighter note, hey man, I feel you. There's sites that I have in my host deny on this box and on the router. So I had to put them on the router because I was accidentally going to them with tablet on mobile devices around the house. So I get you, Brad. I understand there's sites to hate, but just like a pro tip, if you see some word, I was like, did we at any point say, we love this site? This site's, no, we never said any of that. So you got to learn to chill and relax, because I see other podcasts, they might display those sites that I genuinely hate, but I'm like, hey man, I know they don't love the sites. That's just where they got their information from. And that's cool. And we all need to learn to love each other. Or something.
Jeremy Hellstrom!
That's lovely. Looking at you, Scott. That's brilliant. But I think we're going to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. We've taken up enough of your time, but we shall return next week. It's going to be awesome. If you want some more of us in your face, Oregon, this is our PG. This is our adult professional suit and tie. No party show. But if you want the unhinged version, 9:30 Saturday. Come check us out. I mean, prepare yourself, though, because it's a bit of an adventure. But you can always find me at Vince Stone on the Twitter nets, or if you like the G+, I'm over there. Just put Vince Stone into the Googs and you'll see me. I'll be the first result.
Indeed. And you can find me usually being very foul-mouthed on the internet at Unaccounted For on Twitter, or plus Pedro Mateos on Google+.
And you can find me at Strikor on Twitter, or plus Mathieu Commando on Google+. And also have a look at Lutris.net, because I cannot do that as well.
Yeah.
When's Lutris OS coming?
It's great. He's Matthew has confirmed with us that he's begun work on Lutris OS. So we'll see you next week.
Mm-hmm.